intellectual property. Which one? I can't even remember which one. Is that
Oh,
Murphy's Law? I think what can
yeah,
go
I think
wrong will
so.
go wrong.
Yes, that's happening today. And you know what? I am going to congratulate myself for not freaking out, even though now that I'm saying it all, it is a lot. But as the things have
Mhm.
been happening, I'm just like, I'm packing my bags. I'm going to be off for a week. This is
Yeah.
exactly why I needed the vacation. So,
Okay. Well, can stream to Facebook, but I can't stream to YouTube. So we're on YouTube right now.
okay. Let me just grab one cheese stick.
So let me. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna share that to Facebook and let people know. I have not done a lot of YouTube streaming. I've only done Facebook streaming, so that's
Hmm.
gonna be interesting.
I have been trying to do more, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't do more. The only time I will is if I'm going to be recording something and I know it's going to be super long. I'll
Hmm.
just go ahead and just stream directly onto YouTube because I can always private it and then like edit it if I want to later. Well, I guess same thing with Facebook.
Yeah. So let me do that and send it out to a few people who want to know. Let's see here, and then we'll get started with our discussion.
Yeah.
Hey, what I've learned just doing just this type of work, um, podcasting, production, all that stuff. I learned very early on that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't even sweat the small stuff because stuff is going to happen.
Mhm.
Now, if I could figure out how to, oh, there's that one. Um, okay, the company, so, I have some good interviews I've been doing here lately. Um, and I've been enjoying it. Been meeting more people on threads and been seeing more
Okay.
people
Okay.
complain, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well, that's good. I have been, since we spoke last, I have been posting more about business things that cross my mind, but
Hmm.
still not quite making enough videos. What I've been doing though is as soon as I have the thought, I have to just go ahead and type it up or whatever.
Hmm.
Before I would have a thought, make a little note in my notes, and then try to come back later and make a video about it, and
Hmm.
wasn't working out. So making progress, yes,
Yeah.
but just shocked. I think just so long being behind the wheel of a business, I guess I'll say. I
Hmm.
haven't had much time to really just look at other people. I've always been one to kind of stay in my lane, focus on
Hmm.
myself. But
Yeah.
apparently, I just had not looked at anyone else at all. So now that I've had time
Yeah.
to, sit back and look around,
Hmm.
so many of the things that you said are true. And I still keep trying to keep hope alive for the
Also,
people. I'm like, this is
the words ain't
exactly
coming
what
true,
he
huh?
said. Yes.
I
But
get it. Did you get the link? It's on YouTube now. Oh. Yeah, Facebook was acting up or whatever. So yeah, it's on YouTube. I just sent the link out on the thing. You want to send it? Yeah, it's on my Facebook page. I put the YouTube link on my Facebook page. I'm about to put it on my Bank Ready page now. But yeah, so I get that. Sometimes it's hard to come to grips with people, and people are going to be people. Especially when it comes to business and all that. So
yeah,
I definitely understand.
the
Wanting.
disappointment. Yeah.
Well, I definitely understand this point, but I definitely understand where you're coming from as far as like just wanting to believe in people so much,
Yeah.
and want stuff for them so much to where um they don't people don't show up. They really don't. That's why I think it's hard for folks to get there, because they don't want to show up. All right, let me post this on this particular page, and then we're jumping like right into the nitty gritty.
Okay, let me try to share it on mine. You said it's on your.
So I just posted on my Facebook page. I can go over to your page or send it to you through Messenger, however you want to do it.
Oh yeah, you can send it to me through Messenger, then I can share it on my page.
Okay. Get to go back. I gotta switch between pages and go from make that radio show page and the professional mode page. Facebook. Yeah. Oh, I did have a question. Do people, you got your subscription button for your Carmen Evans page on Facebook. Do you do anything with it?
I was, but the max amount that I could charge was $9.99. And I just felt that I was giving out way too much for the $9.99, and then there was no way to increase past that. So I have not been using it anymore.
I definitely get that. But I did want to say, like, if the $9.99, because I know that's the top ticket, that's the top thing I can charge as well. If you feel like you're doing like more than the $9.99 value, just cut back the stuff you were doing.
Yeah. Well, I obviously cut down to zero, so
that's like forget the dollar, won't none of it anymore. It's gonna be
get
zero from here on out.
Out of here. Yeah, so that's something else that now that I have a week off, I have a day that I'm just going to be looking over my offers and all this, and pushing my business coaching more, because obviously there is a need. So yeah, so that's something I'm going to be looking at while I'm on the beach. But yeah, for now I was like, oh, and also since we spoke last, I have been seeing clients again. Okay. So immediately I realized why I stopped. But also everything else has just gone to the wayside. It seems like once I'm in that mode, like yes, I'm making money and all this, but it seems like everything else is just gone. Yeah. Like totally gone. So I hate to be an all or nothing person, but I still feel like I can reach so many more people through the coaching and helping them with their businesses than me still being behind the chair. So yeah. Yeah. I definitely get that. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this. Like, what I'm saying, we've done before. Welcome everybody who's out there tuning in. For everyone who are going to tune in, this is the first time I've broadcasted. I don't even remember the last time I've done a YouTube live stream. So, I think it has to be a special occasion to be able to do that. But two, I did want to try to do Facebook, but hey, Facebook and Zoom was not working out right now. But you tune in to Music and Business Talk. I'm your host, Andres, and I have a special guest coming back with us, Miss Carmen Evans, who is based out of the Louisiana area, esthetician. If y'all didn't check out her interview before now, go definitely check it out. You can get that at musicbusinesstalk.com, musicandbusinesstalk.com. Great conversation for the audio, and then also the videos here on YouTube as well. So if you want to watch that, we had a second interview that we did. It was phenomenal. It was like a good hour and something long or whatever. But for some reason, it just got technical difficulties. I don't know what it was. The crazy thing is, I try to save all my interviews externally, right? I have an external hard drive. It's like I think it's like a 5 terabyte hard drive, right? And I don't know what happened that day. I don't know what I did in my process, because it was a great conversation. And then, we had a conversation after the actual recording. And normally it converts it and I'll put it on there. And when I went to go edit, I was like, I had your folder already created, had to flyer all this stuff prepped. I'm like, where is this footage at? And it was just gone. I was like, oh, it's like the conversations you want to keep just disappear, and then the ones you don't really care for
They're just there.
Saved. I'm saved, ready to roll. Yeah, same thing happened to me. I do a
Uh-huh.
virtual training, and when I initially started it, it took me
Mhm.
several weeks to
Yeah.
finally record one of the
Hmm.
conversations. So,
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised. I was like, oh no, not this again. But then I was like, wait,
Yeah.
it's not me, it's him.
Yeah, so that was my bad, but it happens to the best of us, and it was no,
Yeah,
malicious intent or anything like that or whatever, because I like our conversations.
yeah,
That they're very thought-provoking. We're both experienced, seasoned business people, been able to, get to certain levels of thresholds that a lot of people have not been able to do. And, we're going to touch on that. And if you want to touch on your previous experience that we were talking about last time and how important customer service is, if you just want to do some highlight points and stuff like that. If not, then, we
well,
can, yeah,
yeah, just a brief highlight. I don't want to get myself riled up again because
yeah.
it's been how many weeks now since then? It's been a
Hmm.
while, but what I
Yeah.
will say is just a brief blip and to let anybody else know, I
Hmm.
am still speaking about a negative experience I had almost 15 years ago. Prior
Yeah.
to this incident, I'm still rolling off that. So now this is my news story that I'm telling other people. So, what I would like to say to other business owners and self employed people,
Hmm.
you can't please them all, but you need to try because people will
Hmm.
speak more about a negative experience than anything else. Years
Yes.
ago, I call it the Best Browse Club. And
Hmm.
I would reward people for sending others back to my business. So, of course,
Hmm.
for them to do that, I had to take good care of them. Now, there was one lady, I saw her every other Friday like clockwork. She had a
Hmm.
shirt, she had earned free services, free lunch, all the things. But
Hmm.
yet, she not once sent anybody to my
Hmm.
business. And I was so confused because I'm like, you're the brow babe of the month, like you won, but you don't have any referrals coming back. And
Hmm.
that's kind of what I would like to talk about after we talked about the customer service incident because
Hmm.
referrals are a big part of building a business. Of
Hmm.
course, we ourselves individually can only do so much
Yeah.
marketing and
Hmm.
networking and cross
Hmm.
promotion. But if you are
Hmm.
taking good care of your clients,
Hmm.
they will
Hmm.
really spread the word for you. So,
They,
again,
they will.
that's really why I was upset about the whole customer service situation before, not just because it's me and I want to have a good experience. Yes, that
Hmm.
is true, but you don't know how many people someone could bring to your business. I have
Hmm.
different brow babes that are nurses, they're in sororities. They
Hmm.
work at these big warehouse jobs. Like they know a lot of people. So you
Hmm.
are taking care of one person who can bring a whole town. No lie. I have one client who brought her entire city to
Hmm.
my business. So much
Yeah.
so that I opened up a location where she was from. That's how
Hmm.
one lady. So that's why I'm like, I see what y'all are saying. This is your personality. You don't want to
Hmm.
change, blah, blah. But you never know who's in your business, who you're taking care of that day that can
Hmm.
bring so much more business back to you. So that's my
Exactly.
my summary of what we talked about last time. But it was a little more heated than what
Yeah,
I
it
said just
was.
now. I,
It
I had
was. No, I
time
definitely get
to
it. Had
time to
times
calm
like,
down.
what's that? Woosah.
Yes.
Well, Carmen, I want to do a real quick plug, real quick from products and stuff. Because, I'm so excited about them. The link that I sent you about my health-based products.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna do that real quick, just to let everybody out there know, these this is soap. Um, I have three of them right now, and I got another one to do. Got lavender, what's this? The Midnight Timber. So everybody out there, if you so Carmen, give you a little bit more background. This is the peach blush peach. Um,
Okay.
then soaps, salve, which is topical. So I'm gonna tell you about these real quick and the interesting thing about hemp, or if you don't know anything about that. And then I also have the oils. So everybody out there, y'all know, you can go and get 25% off if you go and order now. Go to the, cookingcathempco.com/shop. And then I got the teas. I got a few of the teas. So a few years back, I'd say Trump did I want to get into this real quick. Trump in his first presidency did like three good things, right? One, he classified cannabis and split it into two different categories, which you have the marijuana, which is a psychotropic profile plant, and then you have hemp, which was used in the industrial age. George Washington, back in the day, all these people grew hemp, used it for a variety of different things, not only as medicinal purposes, but also plastic, make concrete, fibers, all sorts of stuff. It's a great crop to grow. So he declassified hemp, which was great. And then, you had I think it was the Farm Bill Act of 2018, 2019, something like that. So that allowed this industry to evolve. So what I did with the partner I was with at that time, we created what was called the Cook Shop, based off the last name, hemp-based business, because my oldest daughter suffers from seizures. And she does all four categories. So the grand mal, the tonic-clonic, the drop seizures. So at any particular point, if she's overstimulated, stressed out, whatever the case may be, and this is due to her medical condition that she has, tuberous sclerosis, which is basically gray spots on the brain. We wanted to incorporate a more natural approach to her treatment. That's where the hemp products came in. So we was doing like the oil at first, and I was doing pills too. So we learned how to manufacture ourselves. And I was like, wow, this stuff is fantastic because it lessened her recovery time. Now, of course, she would still have them, but she wouldn't have as many, and they wouldn't be as severe. Without the hemp in her system, she could have a drop seizure, and she'd be out for like 30 minutes as far as trying to recover. When introduced hemp into her system, she could have a drop seizure. One, she wouldn't have as many, but then two, when she did have it, recovery time 2-3 minutes. So it shaved off, a lot of that. So then started experimenting and started incorporating hemp into a lot of different products. So created the salves where, topical application, the teas where you just, steep them, and they're mixed with other natural things. So like the lavender moon is nothing but hemp, lavender, stevia. Stevia is a natural sugar. It's actually 20 times sweeter than processed sugar. You can grow actual stevia and, just crush it up and all that and use it as a natural sweetener. And then I have like the Breathe Easy blend, which I actually love myself. I love all my products, but this one I created because the mullein leaf, rose petals, stevia, elderberry, and hemp. Mullein leaf is a great expectorant, and it's great for your respiratory system. A lot of people I was on to like natural products years ago, but now people are starting to get on them more. So I've used them. A lot of people have used them. Just had to rebrand it and all that stuff. Going to a messy divorce or whatever. So that's why the Cook Shop was the original company. Now it's Cooking Cat. So a whole new company, whole new brand, whole new logo, even more added benefits to some of the soaps and things of that nature. So that's that quick plug on that. That's my other business that I do. So everybody out there who's interested, y'all can hit up the site, hit me up, all that good stuff, and I'll send it to you. So back to just business at hand, right? And growing a business, you have all this wonderful experience. Let's see, where should we start? So we already talked about the customer service and how important that is. So when it comes to like referrals, like you said, when people don't know who is in your business, but then also just the importance of that, I would say like referrals are great because it's like that word of mouth marketing, right? But it comes with a person, and word of mouth is the best form of marketing. I tell people you just don't know how, you just can't control it. You can manipulate it to get people talking about stuff, but you don't know when someone's going to tell someone else about your business. You don't
Right.
know when someone's actually going to make a referral, but when they do, it's so impactful.
Yeah.
Why do you think, in your experience, that people are not necessarily utilizing referrals like they should?
Well, due to recent exposures to other businesses, I can say, I really feel that they don't know.
Mhm.
Prior to becoming an esthetician, I worked in call centers, so we
Mhm.
had to do a lot of things and things that I was able to apply to my business later on. But even the beauty school that I went to was owned by someone who had owned a salon for many years. She had
Mhm.
also been one of the members of our Louisiana State Board. So
Mhm.
she put us through business training in school. And now I just assume that not everyone is having that same training. I think they're getting taught to the test, so they're able to pass their board and get their license, but they don't have that full business person, point of view. This is just, I got the license, I'm licensed, and
Mhm.
I'm ready to go. So I'm just really grateful. At the time, I mentioned this before, at the time, I was so frustrated with all the stuff that she was jam packing onto us every day. I was like, ma'am, I haven't even started yet. And you got me up here fake selling things every day. But now I'm so glad that she did, because I could
Mhm.
sell anything to almost anybody. So I think it's just a lack of knowledge. You don't
Mhm.
even know this is something that you're missing out on. That's what I'd
Yeah.
like to say. Now, I'd like to hear what you think the the reason is, but I just feel that they don't know
Yeah.
how impactful it can be to their businesses.
But no, I agree with that. I don't think they really
Okay.
understand how impactful it is, because I've seen it just with all the different various businesses I've been in myself, with my business partners, and the other businesses I've been a part of, where I've done marketing, operations, collaborations, whatever the case may be. And like, I tell people all the time that they miss out on sales, because it's like it's like a referral in essence, right? Back in the day, when I used to high school, I used to sell cutlery, right? I think the company was Vector Marketing or
Vector
something like.
knives.
Yes,
Okay.
I sold those, and I learned some stuff. And I thought one
Hmm.
of the most impactful things that I learned was asking for the referral.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you did after you use the knife or the scissors to cut the little penny, and showing people how sharp they are, and they're like, oh wow, this is, what I'm saying, really sharp and stuff like that. And even if they didn't purchase, you ask them for three references, and that's how you
Hmm.
build your leads. No one
Okay.
does that like a lot in business. I've still practiced that to where
Yeah.
I've sold stuff to people, and then even if they were like, what I'm saying, even going through the sales process, if they said no, cool, which is fine, because I understand the salesman ratio. I was like, okay, well, do you know like two or three other people that might be interested in this? And if so, let me get their information so I can reach out to them.
Hmm.
And then what I do, I'll call them up and I use their name, because it lowers
Hmm.
the defense mechanism when I'm calling, like, okay,
Yeah.
hey, Tiffany, what I'm saying, Carmen gave me your number and she thought that you would be very interested in this. And then they're more receptive in
Right.
listening to what the presentation is. And,
Right. Right. Right.
just keep going that way. I don't know a lot of people besides who work in, like, sales, that might employ that, where their job is sales. But as far
Hmm.
as like small business owners where you have to run everything in your business, I haven't seen them employ that particular
Hmm.
method,
I'm
nor do
still
they.
on it. I'm still on that. 15 years later, and me having thousands of clients, I'm still telling people, well, we spread the word out there. Or I have a higher ticket service, and it's a two-part thing. So the second thing is 6 weeks away. So first
Mhm.
appointment is 650, second one is 150, 6 weeks away. I
Mhm.
tell them, if you can get two of your friends or family, somebody you know, to come in for this service before it's time for your second part will be free. Of
Mhm.
course, they don't want to, what? Oh my gosh. But a lot of times they were going to tell people anyway, but giving them
Mhm.
that extra incentive to
Mhm.
please, instead of me begging, like, please,
Mm-hmm.
please give your friends my card. This gives them a reason why they should send more people in. And then also it's a benefit for me. So like I said, that's what I did. Man, that was 7 years ago. And I just
Mm-hmm.
connected with the right person. And I had no idea. I had never met her. I just randomly came up with the idea, let me try this. I'm doing this on a small scale. So let me see if I post about it, maybe to people that have never even met me. Let's see what the response was. And oh my gosh, it was so great. Like, still to this day, I love her so much. Still to this day, like, I'm still getting people from
Mm-hmm.
her 7 years later. So, again, now that I have been going
Yeah.
to other people's business,
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
get it.
shocked to see that they're missing out on so many things. And so when people are building their businesses, I see them saying, like, how can I get more clients, or how can I? And my answer is always take good care of the ones that you have. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't start off with thousands of clients. I had maybe five by the time I started saying I have some regulars. But from those five, like, so many other people came. And I am also someone who spent thousands of dollars on marketing. I had
Mm-hmm.
the truck wrap, billboards, email lists, text message campaigns. Still, word of mouth and referrals is the best thing. And I feel that all that other stuff that I did, it only backed up the referral that they heard earlier. So your coworker comes back to work with fresh new brows, boom. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
they're so pretty. Who did your brows? Oh, this girl named Carmen, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's in your mind that, okay, Carmen does brows. I saw this person do brows. So then when you pass by the billboard, I feel like this is just backup to what you already heard. Now, sure, there are some people who this is their first exposure to me, but like you said, when they have a referral from someone that they know,
Mm-hmm.
it just builds a layer of trust with this new person that you've never even met. And then there's no limit to how far it can go. So it's hard sometimes for me to say it in a way that's not, I'm never wanting to be condescending. I'm never wanting to talk down or make someone feel bad, but this is
Mm-hmm.
factual information. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people are just missing out on sales that they don't even need to do any extra work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they're thinking about increase and expansion and growth, they're thinking about more labor on themselves. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
always the case. If you take care of the customers that you have right now,
Yeah.
they will go out into the world and bring more people back to you. And like I said, I'm 15 years in, I'm still telling people, hey, let this person know, spread the word for me out there. And even just asking, like you said, asking for the referral. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you afraid to say, will you tell your friends about me? Why are you afraid to ask for help? But this, it goes kind of deep. And I don't really want to get too deep on that. But what I will stay
Yeah.
focused on is referrals. Like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know, 10 times, 100 times. Like, I feel it's just amplified everything that I did for myself. My clients just completely amplified it times a million, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
always thanking them. My book is dedicated to them. So when people hear me talking about my clients, I call them my brow babes. They
Mm-hmm.
feel almost like, it's kind of weird. Like, you're talking about them, like, but no, these people have changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I owe a lot. I really owe all of my success to these people. So why would I, coming back around to the customer service, why
Mm-hmm.
would I let them have a raggedy experience with me when they
Mm-hmm.
have done so much more, to improve the quality of my life? So yeah. So, like I said, I don't want to get too riled up about the negative experience, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not because it's me and I'm Carmen and people need to, it's nothing like that at all. It's just I'm all about referrals, and I
Mm-hmm.
have thousands of people that I really was looking to send to send to the business. Like, that was my whole reason for coming. So it was just like, not even, so this is your experience, this is your MO. This is how
Mm-hmm.
you're operating. What I witnessed probably was your best behavior. I don't know. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's just frustrating to me to know that people have the possibility and the potential. But of course, you always say that is the potential, and that's what I would do in their shoes. But still, it's just like, dang, you're on the cusp of
Mm-hmm.
greatness. And I
Yeah,
just want
like
everybody to be great. I just want everybody to be
again, everybody's not gonna be great. I'm
great.
just saying, you experience, you see it with the data though, because if everybody is great, everybody will be able to succeed, and people wouldn't close doors and stuff like that. And a lot of businesses aren't really closing doors due to lack of sales. They're closing doors because management issues and how they operate.
Yeah.
27 million businesses in the United States, or 28, something like that. It's in the 20 something million, the high 20s, or one person ran and operated. And I've seen it where people start a business and they're in it for a few years or whatever, and they're getting a foot established, and they're starting to get some market share, but they're so stuck in their ways about how they do business, not understanding that remove yourself from the situation and remove your ego. What I'm
Right.
saying? It's about servicing the customer and making
Right.
sure that they have a great experience with you. So therefore, like you said, they will go out and they will leave their review. Like I shot a reality show last summer with the Bounce House company, and they had fantastic Google reviews and in the hundreds. And when I used to ask, and I would ask on, because part of the concept of shooting it was I wanted video testimonials. So I'm out there talking to their customers, asking them, how did you learn about this Bounce House company? And they're like, well, we read their Google reviews, and we were searching, and that's what convinced us to do business.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't do things to where people want to leave the Google review and feel, enticed and to do so, then, it's going to make your job harder. But a
Yeah.
lot of people, there's too many of, I witnessed all the different cities I've lived in, talking to all these different businesses, owners, especially within our community. Some of them just don't want to listen. They just don't want to, put their ego aside and let someone who knows how to build something up to a level to where you get hundreds of thousands of dollars. Um, and there's a reason why people can hit those levels, because you got these
Yeah.
systems in place. It's not about your
Mm-hmm.
ego. You're providing these great customer service experiences. You're advocating for yourself within the business for the customers to spread word. Because, like you said, once someone talks to other people about your business, then when they do see your advertisement outside of the conversation, it reinforces that image about what they've heard and their
Yeah.
perception. So
Yeah.
therefore, they're more likely to do business with you, as opposed to just, what I'm saying, trying to generate sales just based off of advertising alone, because people are bombarded with advertising anyway. I'm like, we receive over 70 something thousand messages, I think, within a week.
Yeah.
So, and we cannot process all that
No.
information. There's a lot of competition out there. And if you ain't got those big budgets, then that money does not really factor in the ROI. And then on top of that, everybody doesn't know how to do marketing. I've experienced that. I have a whole degree in it. So I've seen people try to market and promote other people's businesses, and they won't get the same results that I've gotten other people.
Yeah.
Because every business is different, especially when it comes to small businesses, and you have to understand where that small business fits into the marketplace, the perception, the benefits that it has. You have to understand what the SWOT analysis is going to be, and all these things factor in. But another thing I've noticed that goes along with the referral business is that people do not, especially small businesses, do not take advantage of loyalty programs. I have seen it time and time again where they don't even have one. I worked with a young lady a few years back where she had a clothing store, physical clothing store. This was during the pandemic. She did not have a loyalty program set up on her POS system. I helped her set it up. She ended up, what I charged her, she made that back from one person. That was just one person. Because, like you said, it's incentivized to where
Yeah.
you get points. Why do you think all of these big companies do loyalty programs? Loyalty
Right.
programs where the numbers are there. They will increase your net cash flow in profit margin between what they say between 25 to 95%, just off of loyalty programs. I'm like, there's a reason why all these companies want you to sign up so they can send you information. Because once you do business with the business, you have that relationship. All you have to do is nurture it.
Right.
Like I just relaunched this business again and gotten sales this month because of old customers, and I haven't sold to those old customers in at least 2.5 years.
Similar situation here.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to you that I've been off, but for people that don't know, I've been totally off work for almost 3 years, recovering from burnouts, but
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless, I have an email list.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I decided to roll out and just be like, hey, if anybody's interested, but you have
Mm-hmm.
warm leads.
You
So these are
do.
people that have had a good experience with you before,
Mm-hmm.
and they just need to know what you have going on. So just
Yeah.
from sending out one email, which cost me maybe $135, I say it's a constant contact. But either way, from one
Mm-hmm.
email, I sold over 25 things that cost hundreds of dollars. And this is
Mm-hmm.
after no billboards, no really anything at all, but just
Mm-hmm.
deciding to reach out to people that I had serviced in the
Mm-hmm.
past. But if I had not been taking down their information, if I had not been, I just don't know. I guess I'm so deep into it now. I
Mm-hmm.
can't imagine the way that other people are operating, just doing the services. So it's very strange again when now I'm a customer and
Mm-hmm.
going to people's business and you don't have my information at all. I am
Mm-hmm.
here, but you don't have my information. So I might come
Mm-hmm.
today and you never see me again. You have no way to contact me.
Exactly. Like people are basically,
Or,
they're doing business just out there and they're having to work harder than smarter.
yeah, that's one
And
thing that my dad always said. And although he's not an entrepreneur, those words always came to mind: work smarter, not harder. Work smarter,
mm-hmm.
not harder. And so
Mm-hmm.
anything I could do, because I didn't really want to be self employed or anything at first. I just
Mm-hmm.
needed a job. So I
Yeah.
created one for myself. So anything that I could do to make my job easier was great for me. I
Mm-hmm.
was a single mother of three small children. I'm trying to take care of them, build this business. Why would I work harder when there are
Mm-hmm.
things that I can do and systems that I can put in place that will help me make this whole thing easier? And so when people are looking from the outside, they think, oh, well, she's been doing it a long time. That's why she's getting these results. But there are a lot of people who've been in business way longer and,
Mm-hmm.
they still have to have a full-time job somewhere else or
Mm-hmm.
just, and it just, I know we're not going to agree, but it just really breaks my heart to see them having a hard time when they don't have to. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody can be great. I'm trying to accept it, but as you see, it's hard for me to accept
What
that
do you know?
everybody
That
can be
I
great.
told you I'm built off of data, and like I can look in. So as a marketer, you know what I'm saying. There's a couple of databases that you can access that a lot of people don't know. And when I access this database, you can look at what they have accumulated, projected income revenue for companies and stuff based off of how long they've been in business, the industry. They can guess how many employees they have based off of the all the data points that they pull from. And it is very accurate because when at one point I had a salesperson when I was running my banked out marketing. Well, I still run banked out marketing, but it's just me now. But I had a salesperson I hired yeah, for part time, and I had her reaching out to different people, letting them know about the different services we were offering from marketing and production. And I was telling her, let the people know what we know. So she was telling some people like, okay, well, it says here that you're in like $120,000 a year range. You're like, well, how you know that? I was like, well, we got access to databases and stuff like that. We just wanted to see if you trying to bump it up to 250, stuff like that or whatever. So people were like, shocked with that, but it's oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, I do have two things I was
Uh-huh.
listening and I wanted to throw in. One thing that you said a while back, I want to touch back on is that
Mhm.
change requires change. Like
Yeah.
you're telling the people they have this potential again to make all
Mm-hmm.
this money and the data is there and other
Mm-hmm.
people are doing what they're trying to do. So it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not able to put your ego aside and
Mm-hmm.
be teachable and open
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
constructive criticism,
Mm-hmm.
even getting the reviews, not only are the reviews of referrals for people scoping you out, but also this is a chance to get some feedback and figure out what areas you need
Mm-hmm.
to improve in. But if you're
Yeah.
so just, I'm right, I know everything, this is how it is, where you're at right now is where you're going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may have
Mm-hmm.
to, like you said, shut down. I'm still trying to give the people some hope, even though they're, I'm saying
Hey,
at
everybody did
least,
dream. Everybody did dream. I
yeah.
know what I was gonna say though. It was the fact that which you hinted on how some people, you know what I'm saying, they plateau. And I saw that in the database too. It would tell me how many years they're there. It would show me like where their income started, where it's at now, and throughout the years. And I saw a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, one business person or one man operation, one woman operation still operating, like you said, where they have to work a full-time job and they're only pulling in 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 a year. And I'm like, there's no way that you can be in business for 10 years and still at the same level. And the
Yeah.
reason that they're there is because, like you said, a lot of those factors, they couldn't put their ego to the side. They don't know
Yeah.
how to scale and grow. They're doing things wrong. I tell people all the time, when you're full time into a business, and I'm talking about full time, not part time, not, giving it half-ass results or half-ass efforts. When you're
Yeah.
really gun ho in it, you should be able to put yourself on payroll by year three.
Yeah.
Year 1 and 2 is like, your incubator years and stuff like that. You're learning and stuff like that. You're in a toddler stage. By year 3, you should be able to put yourself on payroll some type of way. It don't have to necessarily be 100% full-time payroll, but you should be able to pay yourself monthly. And then you
Yeah.
increase that years, what I'm saying, 3 through like 10, you're actually growing. Those are your growing years as the business. Every year you should be growing. You should be growing like at the industry rates, depending
Yeah.
on what that industry is. Now, sometimes you can have, exponential growth where in the council business I have ran, we were growing like 25, 30, 40% every year with revenue, growing, 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 and then hit like we doubled once we got a hold of a contract for the city. So that
Mm.
doubled our revenue plus some, and then it brought in more recognition and all that stuff, whatever. So you should be able to see that throughout the years, and you should be expanding what we started off with primary services in these particular categories, end up growing and reaching out into others, and cultivating a bigger base for the business.
Yeah.
People who are stuck and can't get anywhere, you're operating wrong. I mean, it just is what it is because the
Yeah.
proof is in the pudding. And that's what I tell people. It's all about the results. If you're not growing
Yeah.
every year, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lower
And
the
even
ego.
that, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, even that, it requires some sort of honesty and self reflection and taking the time to look
Mm-hmm.
at your numbers. So you would know this way more than me, but me, even fresh out of beauty school and not really knowing anything about business, not thinking of myself as a business person, I still knew to look at what was happening. I was like, okay, I'm putting money, this much money out on this, but what
Mm-hmm.
is coming back in? Or
Mm-hmm.
I think we spoke before about how I realized I wasn't getting referrals at first. I was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting customers, I'm making money, but I just felt something inside that I should be getting more. Like if
Yeah.
someone didn't have brows last week and now they're back at work this week with brows, somebody at the call center or wherever hospital should have
Mm-hmm.
asked you about them and called me, but I wasn't getting a lot of referrals. But it takes self-awareness, to
Mm-hmm.
even think, to look at yourself honestly and be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
where can I improve? But for so many people, I really feel their goal is just to make some money
Yeah.
and not have to clock into a job and wait on a
Mm-hmm.
paycheck. So now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yes, you are making some money, but why did I say it like that? But
Well, no, but
you could be making a lot
yeah.
more. or you shouldn't have to work as hard. I always say for us in the service industry, you should be retaining clients. You shouldn't be just fishing for new people every week, whatever they call it, catch and release. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be just it shouldn't be as hard. Like we said, work
Mm-hmm.
smarter, not harder. So
Mm-hmm.
it took me, and no one even said I was doing anything wrong. At that point, from where I started, I
Mm-hmm.
was doing great. And really, did I need to change anything according to how everyone else saw me? No. I had a shop with 9 people. I'm like 27. I have a convertible, a SUV, and all these things. But I knew I'm still working. I'm too deep in this to be
Mm-hmm.
still fishing for new people like this every week. So I had to tighten up.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes honesty,
Mm-hmm.
self awareness. And one
Mm-hmm.
more thing I want to ask you about before I go today is, how do you feel about people letting go of a, don't want to say small mind, maybe scarcity mindset, like they are
Mm-hmm.
used to having to struggle for things, maybe, I
Mm-hmm.
guess is what I'll say. And so
Yeah.
now you're self employed and you are making some money.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've started to say for myself is that everyone has a different level of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I wanted to build a home a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but the person that I was working with, my protege at the time, was older than me and really had no desire to do so much, is what she said. She would be fine living in a studio apartment, her and her child, and all this. And was a lot I wanted to say, like, we're doing the same services. So if this is something I'm able to do, even if you're not doing it on the same scale, you don't have to. Why would you want to just be in a one room
Mm-hmm.
with 3 people and a dog? So I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to start telling myself people have different levels of comfort. So while
Mm-hmm.
we're saying we want people to change and improve and expand and grow, I guess mostly I'm saying, but I have to remind myself, for
Uh,
someone else, this that they're at
mm-hmm.
is great. They started
Yeah.
here. Now they're right here. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
clocking in. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have a boss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making some money. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't know why I keep saying it like that, but I'm
Yeah.
making some money.
Yeah.
So why should I improve
Mm-hmm.
when this right here to me is great?
Well, okay, so I've seen it to where like I'm very ambitious and I had to realize I was way more ambitious than a lot of people. And then sometimes your ambition can scare other people, right? Because people, it's a mindset thing. Everybody, I had to get to the realization that everybody doesn't want $1 million business. Everybody doesn't want a multi-million dollar business. Everybody doesn't want $100 million business. Everybody doesn't want $1 billion business because those things not only come with those finances or those revenue streams, but it also comes with a lot of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
discipline, things you have to put in, place. Some people don't want a $500,000 business. Some people are scared of the responsibility that you have when you run something like that. So I had to get used to the idea that everybody's not as ambitious. Just like, doctors, lawyers, all that stuff. Everybody's not going to graduate at the top of the class. Some people are fine with being like, graduating as a doctor and lawyer, but they made B's or C pluses or whatever you have to graduate.
Yeah, I
They
recently
wasn't,
heard C's get degrees, and I was like, oh,
yeah, they
okay.
do, they do. So everybody's not, just like everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. Everybody
Yeah.
doesn't want to do that. Now, I used to be gun ho when I was young. Wanted everybody to go out there and they mention anything close to entrepreneurship. I'm running like 20,000 miles ahead and like, hey, this is what you need to do, blah 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 blah, and staying on them and wanting it more for them. But I just had to come to terms, and we
Yeah.
want more for others than they want for themselves, and that's the
Mhm.
line that we cross, and we have to, pull back, and we have to get with more like-minded people who want the same goals and ambitions or as ambitious as we are. So like
And
with you
it
and
really
that
almost made
lady,
me tear up just hearing that. Like, I have so much hope for the world, but I just have to be honest. We are not all
We're not
moving
all the
at the
same.
same
But
level.
when you find people though who fit the caliber of what you're going for, then that becomes your world. And it's okay to pour into those people and, make sure that they get to the level. But again, you're setting yourself up for disappointment
Yeah.
when you pour into those who don't necessarily believe in themselves like that. And,
Yeah. Well,
you
that's
just
how
got
I
to
got
measure
burnt out.
people's, yeah. No, I almost quit entrepreneurship at least 3, 4 times that I can remember.
Hmm.
And this has been since 20, what was that? I was part-time entrepreneur in 2005. So what's that? 21 years.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm like, you just gotta, shift your mind and like put yourself around people who are ambitious and gun ho like you are, because just being an entrepreneur in general, right? People have this fear that they can't get past because it's uncertainty. Yes, there is a lot of uncertainty with entrepreneurship, but the more that you invest in yourself, the less I believe, the less risk you end up taking anyway. Like I've never
You
seen the
know,
stat where you can work 40 years for yourself, into yourself, like real working into yourself like you would a job, and don't have anything to show for it. I ain't never seen a stat. I've seen where people work 40 years for a company though and don't have a retirement plan.
yeah, this is true. And I guess I need to just accept that. And lately, again, since I've had more time to self-reflect, I just have to really accept that about myself. I am a very ambitious person. When you were
Mm-hmm.
just talking about the risk right there a second ago, somebody else would be like, "Oh my God, no, no." But hearing you say that, I'm like, "Yeah, it's a risk,
Mm-hmm.
but also there's a huge
It's
potential for
reward.
reward."
Uh-huh.
So I'm racking in money where if I
Mm-hmm.
had would never tried or taken the risk or jumped off that
Mm-hmm.
cliff, I can't really
Mm-hmm.
tell you where I would be right
Mm-hmm.
now. I really don't even think about it. I used to keep a badge from one of my last jobs. I very
Mm-hmm.
briefly worked as a cashier at Walmart. This is no whatever to
Mm-hmm.
anybody that's working there now, but I went from working at call centers straight out of high
Mm-hmm.
school. So, pretty good for
Yeah.
a 18, 19-year-old then to
Mm-hmm.
Walmart. And I was like, hmm, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, this is, I'm not feeling this. I don't even know what this is. Even the
Yeah.
managers, everybody there had another job. And when you start there, they sit you down and they show you all these videos. Like you may have heard negative things about working here. I had not actually heard anything, but all the videos
Mm-hmm.
they made me watch, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is a lot of, okay, y'all saying it's a good company and I need a job, but why am I getting so many warnings about ignore what
Yeah.
your friends and family say, look away from the protest? But
Yeah.
the very first week I started working, I was like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
this is trash. And then
Yeah.
I'm ringing up thousands of dollars of merchandise. Now, while I'm not buying anything, okay, y'all are footing the bill on the product, but the little bit of pay that I was getting, I was like, you can afford to pay me more than this. And I actually quit that job, and my unemployment from my call center job was more than I was making at
Mm-hmm.
Walmart. And that was one of my very last jobs. So I used to actually need to look for it. I kept that badge though for years
Mm-hmm.
because if there was ever a time where I didn't feel like posting or I was tired of
Mm-hmm.
talking to people or tired of
Mm-hmm.
answering the same questions, I looked at that motherfucking badge and I said, this is what's waiting for me.
Yeah.
If I don't do these things,
Uh-huh.
where will I go?
Yeah.
Back to Walmart. So I don't know. I guess just having that. I hear
Mm-hmm.
so many people that they had pretty good jobs or the job which even that,
Mm-hmm.
still talking to people who I know as entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
it still boggles my mind that they have a full-time job on top of that. I
Mm-hmm.
never could do both. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm just accepting that I am very ambitious and
Mm-hmm.
I will work very hard to avoid going back to
Mm-hmm.
which other people, like you said, have worked there for years, retired from there, all these things. And that's just not for me. We have different levels of comfort. And that to me
Mm-hmm.
was far too uncomfortable. I have to do what I got to do to
Yeah.
refuse, to avoid going back to that situation. But again, someone else though, their job
Mm-hmm.
still so hard. You see, every time I say it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
but
No, I get it. Yeah,
their job is not as taxing,
yeah,
it's not uncomfortable. They
yeah,
probably like the people they work with. So
yeah.
this is, oh, we're cool, we're hanging
But
out, we're
it's
peers.
also safe too, though, because you're not taking risks. Until you're a full-time entrepreneur, you don't understand the risk. You understand that you're putting your livelihood on the line. When you're a part-time entrepreneur, then no disrespect to them, but they haven't taken on the same risk as a full-time entrepreneur. When you have a backup plan, then
Mm-mm.
you don't look at stuff the same. You're not going to, jump for those risks because you're wrapped up in safety and security.
Yeah.
And but that's limited too, though. So,
Yes.
whatever that job is, whatever, what I'm saying, those promotions can be, it's always living, it's limited to someone else making a decision of your potential for revenue.
Yeah.
And that never sat well with me.
Me either. And
So
like I said, maybe
I
because I
definitely
didn't have such
uh-huh.
a great alternative. All my other jobs, I was like, I'm not working 12 hours. I'm not waiting for the check. I'm
Hmm.
not standing here rigging up thousands of dollars for folks when I could be doing something for myself. But when I very
Hmm.
first started, the first person that I worked with, she came from the casinos. So I don't know if
Hmm.
I told you, there's a lot of casinos where I live, but she was in a
Hmm.
spot at two different casinos, and I should not
Hmm.
know this, but she was getting $700 of child support every month, which
Hmm.
this is all great for her. So just to show comparison though, I'm coming in with nothing. I got
Hmm.
no financial backing, no job, no nothing. So I'm giving this all I got because this
Hmm.
is my only source of income.
Hmm.
And I don't want to say that's what was our differences, why she didn't ever want to advertise or why, but I guess she
Hmm.
did not really need to the way that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had no choice. Like this is
Hmm.
it for me. And
Hmm.
actually, I I don't want to say I like to struggle, but I prefer to have that, I guess, extra pressure. I feel like it's made
Hmm.
me
Yeah,
go a
you need
lot
that pressure
further.
because it
Yeah.
puts you into overdrive. Yeah. So I definitely get that. Well, Carmen, my battery's dying
Oh my
on
God.
my camera. We've been talking for a good little bit. I love talking to you. Definitely got to, finish more conversations and stuff. But for people out there who want to get to know you a little bit more, like you said, you are doing more business coaching. If you're taking on clients, things of that
Yes.
nature, people, where do they need to be directed? How can they get in contact with
If you are just getting started in the beauty service industry, or if you're wanting to let this be your only source of income, because not only can you survive, but you can thrive in the beauty
you?
service industry, be sure to follow me on Ask Carmen TV. I also have Brow Babe University. And yeah, from my scheduling link, you can see availabilities for a Zoom call consultation. So I know I'm trying my best to not like overwhelm folks with the information, but I'm just so
Hmm.
passionate about it because it has changed my life. And I just feel like this is possible for really anyone else that's willing to do the work.
It is. It definitely is. Well, everyone, thank y'all for, my YouTube people who've been out here and everyone who's going to go back and watch this and anyone who have picked up on it. I text y'all all this stuff. We're going to keep on watching Make Out Radio Show and Music and Business Talk.com. Tune in for all these fantastic episodes. And just a quick plug as well, everyone out there, I have started the political side of the platform as well, Banked Out Ballot, and I have more interviews that have been recorded and some coming up. So make sure y'all tune in for those as well. But Carmen, I appreciate you, what I'm saying, taking time out your busy day to, come through and, have this conversation. I'm like, we always have fantastic conversation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.